Honestly, I almost wanted to give this movie a 10 out of 10 just because it felt so good to be in the movie theaters again. Oh. Alright, let's do this. Let's all go watch the review. Yeah. Hey everybody, I am Laser Dude, and you might notice I have a little bit of a different setup right now. Well, that's just because, long story short, I've lost my job completely, and so we are now showing off the house because we're going to be moving to where my wife, where her job is right now, because COVID sucks, and because of that, I don't have my green screen set up because, you know, we want to show off the house so other people will buy it, and it'll look weird, the big green screen there. So yeah, now that you're all cut up, here is my review of The New Mutants, the movie that we weren't sure was ever going to come out, but it finally is here. It is a movie that involves a young girl has a traumatic experience and gets whisked away to this facility with a bunch of other young teenagers who all have supernatural abilities and don't know what to do with them. But once she is there, weird stuff starts happening, and they have to try to uncover what her power is, but also what is the mystery behind this facility at all. So this movie has been put on hold, and then COVID happened and it got put on hold again, and now it is finally here. Part of me feels that they're just like, look, let's just get rid of it, okay? I mean, I know not everyone's going to want to see a movie right now with COVID, but let's just get rid of it, put it out there. Maybe we'll make something out of it. But this movie is a weird one to me, because, like, I remember seeing the trailers, I'm like, are they trying to make, like, a horror movie with X-Men? And I think that was kind of the mindset they were trying to do. Thing is, I was never really scared. I mean, there was some creepy elements of the film, I will say that. But there was never a moment I didn't really know what was going on. Because they kind of just tell you all the time. I mean, there's mysteries and stuff set up, but there's a lot of times where we're like, oh, well, obviously this is happening, and we all know this. Why don't they know this? And when they do figure it out, it's like, well, yeah, keep up here, people. It doesn't take Batman to figure this out. But let's just start with the characters. We have our main character is this girl, Moonstone. What is her name? Our main character is played by Blue Hunt. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but she is a Native American girl who some big hits her village, and she's the only survivor. She has to really uncover what it is and what her mutant power is. And I gotta say this. Most of the acting from all these actors is actually okay. We got another one playing Ileana, and Ileana is actually one of my, I wouldn't say personal favorites, but I actually really like Ileana as a character in the comics. Otherwise known as Magic, or Magique, I'm never exactly sure how to pronounce that, but I was really, her character was kind of being the jerk at the beginning. I'm like, okay, we've seen this sort of thing, but this can be handled badly or handled well, where she's like, you know, maybe I like her by the end, or maybe I just hate her when they're trying to make you like her. But I actually ended up liking her character, and I like the stuff that they show her going through, and that was actually interesting. I like her powers. She has the coolest moment in the whole film, I will say, at the end, where she just goes to town, and something else happens I don't want to give away, but until the spoiler part of the review, I'm like, okay, she's cool. I really like her character. But Dani Moonstar, the main character, I really didn't like her acting, and I just think it's just because it's not necessarily her fault. I don't think the film paces itself well. Like, she's told that you're the only survivor of your village, everyone else is dead, and you're a mutant. Anyway, her character goes through all this, and while there's a moment where she's like struggling with the grief early on, I never really felt it from the actress. I really feels like she just adjusts too quickly. And I think the films could have paced it better. You know, have her go through depressions and doesn't want to see anyone, locks herself in her room for, you know, weeks or months at a time. And only later does she start to feel, you know, like she wants to come out and do stuff. You know, like, give it some time. Give it some time to spend. Here she's like, there's a romance between her and oh shoot. Macy Williams' character, I wanted to say Millie Bobby Brown, but I knew that was wrong. There's a different guy from Stranger Things in this, so not her. But Macy Williams' character, there's like a romance blooming between those two characters, which is fine. They handle it okay. I mean, I will say that Macy Williams' character isn't as developed. Like, I feel like she's just the romantic interest, and that's about it. Which, that happens so many times in other movies, too. But it's just like, I wish she could have been developed a little bit more, more of a person. But she does, every character has a trauma trigger, and we'll find out about it throughout the film as, evil stuff starts happening, and they're reliving their worst fears. But I think that the thing is, we only get, to know of them through their trauma, that's all we get to find out about them. We don't really get to know who they are much beyond that. I mean, not to say that the acting from all the other characters is bad. I think for the most part it works okay. But I really think the main character playing Danny, I think she's kind of bland. I don't want to say she's terrible. I think it's just the film calls for her to go through so many emotions, and I don't think the actress has the range to pull it off. And I think the writing could have been handled better to allow the character to go through those emotions a lot better, but it just never really pans out that way. Although I will say, I find this movie kind of fun a little bit. There's some scenes where just okay, I'm enjoying this. And the traumatic stuff that these characters are, struggling with is actually, it's pretty traumatic. It's not like, oh, sheesh, you ran away from home from your child and that's it. No, there's stuff that's just like, okay, there's some pretty heavy topics here. And interesting stuff to dive into for the X-Men universe. Because they bring up Xavier and stuff like that. So this is a universe that has the X-Men and stuff along that route. So it's like, for stuff like that, to dive into it, pretty good. However, outside of it being an X-Men film, it really kind of feels more like a typical horror movie, but now the kids also have powers. It's not just a psychological horror movie. You also have the kids have powers. But I would say that makes it stand out a little bit among them. It's definitely not the worst out of all the X-Men films that we've ever done. I mean, it's definitely not. I would say that this is actually pretty good. This has some moments where I'm like, okay, that is cool, that's awesome. But I feel like it just gets into the angst a little bit too much. It's like, I remember when I was in my teenager years, I was thinking of all these dark stuff I could put in a story. I was thinking of all the dark and twisted stuff, like, oh, you could have this, and then that would lead to this, and it's like, oh, wow, the darkness. And then I saw a movie called, I think it was like Black Magic or Dark Magic, something like that, and the film was just too dark. It was depressing how dark it was. And then I was like, oh man, you really need a light at the end of the tunnel. When you do nothing but darkness, you really don't. Why would anybody want to see that? You need to give people something to feel good about at the end, even when everything goes wrong. However, I'll say this, it's out of all the movies I've seen this year, it's pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to say that the New Mutants, I don't think I need to see a sequel from it. I'd be okay with seeing some of the characters come into maybe the X-Men franchise down the line, whatever they want to do with it. But I think that for the most part, the New Mutants, I find the movie is just okay. It's a fun little movie. I don't think I ever really need to watch it again. There might be some clips or some scenes I want to watch again and stuff that, because the movie, I will say, it surprised me in some parts, but for other parts it didn't. And so I am going to give the New Mutants a 5.5 out of 10. Slightly above average. I was thinking of giving it a 6, but I think it's just a lot of this stuff I've already really forgotten, and I saw this movie yesterday. I think the movie's fine. The characters are fine. There's nothing absolutely incredible. It's a below average movie. I didn't hate anything of it, which I guess is, a compliment, but I didn't love anything of it either. I really think you could take kind of this superhero world route and turn it into a horror movie. I think that's actually a really good idea, and it could be explored more down the line. I don't think it did it here. I will say this film hit some of its stuff on the nose, how much they were ripping off from Buffy. And I know that's weird, but there's actual scenes in one of the few DVDs or whatever they have there is from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so they watch it every now and then. And it's When they hint that these two girls are going to be in a relationship, they'll show Willow and Tara kissing. When they want a hint of these big scary creatures, they'll play the episode of The Silent Man in the background. I'm just like, okay, we can see what you're doing. You don't need to show, see, this is what I'm taking inspiration from. We get it, all right? But yeah, I think the movie is slightly above average. I think it's okay. I think it's fun. It's fun. Like, as I say, I don't think I'm buying it on DVD. I don't think I'm going to watch it again. But if I was, like, with a group of people who hadn't seen it, they wanted to watch it again, I'd be fine. I think I'd be fine. So, yeah. Now I want to talk about a few spoiler-related stuff and just get into that. Yeah, I think some of the stuff that this film does, the dark stuff that this film does, the creepiest scene, I will say, is, I think, the scene where the guy talks about how he gets too hot when he gets excited, and so he, like, literally turns on fire, and he burned his girlfriend to death while they were trying to have sex for the first time. That's why you wait till you're married, kids. But, anyways, there's this where he tells her about that, and then the girl disappears, and then the girlfriend's burning corpse starts coming after him. That, I was like, holy shoot, that's crazy. And then the creepy monsters with just the no faces and the teeth, that was creepy, but I think it was, like, not as creepy as it could have been. I think that, like, the romance is kind of blah. And the film shows us, in the very beginning, like, oh, this girl has sonic activity. So, obviously, these nightmares and stuff, she's causing them. Everybody can figure this out. And it's not that we couldn't figure it out, it's that they're showing it to us. Even if they didn't show... I mean, maybe that's kind of the thing, like, if they didn't show it to us, we'd all have figured it out anyways. But, yeah, and I think that for what the movie, the trauma that the main character has gone through, there needed to be a little bit more of an emotional getting over. Like, she tries to commit suicide once... But then after that, she's basically just like a regular teenager. And, of course, everyone grieves differently. But I never really felt like she was grieving all that much. Anyways, I say that... and the ending is a little bit of, you can defeat it. I can't. You can. I believe in you. But, the best part. I didn't even say... we got Ileana with her puppet, Lockhead. Which, I'm like, well, Lockhead is actually, like, Kitty Pryde's dragon, but whatever. If you want to just have a puppet called Lockhead as a little reference, that's fine. But then when she says, like, I am also magic, and she armors up, and then Lockhead is a real dragon, I'm like, okay, I have questions, but this is still pretty darn cool. She just is slicing the bear and the dragon is shooting. I'm like, I don't know how this works, but I love it. I love this part. This part is absolutely amazing. This is what I wanted to see. More of this, please. And I think they could have done more if they really wanted to. I think the movie's set up. I don't know. I think it's fine. The movie's fine, but as I say, it's nothing too special. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. I am Lazy Dude, and hey, maybe I'll be having more videos coming up. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, adios. Be sure to check out some of these other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon. I got a call from France. Hello?
Purpose of this call is regarding enforcement actions.
No
which
way.
has been executed by Department of Justice against your social insurance number.
Not my social
Ignoring
insurance.
this would be an intentional attempt to avoid initial appearance.
I better not ignore it. Oh no, I hit the button! I'm sure it'll be okay.